So we are going to be testing our colors today, and I wanted to show you the setup first. We have our reds, our yellows, our blues, our white, palette knives, a brush, here's a rag, and a marker for taking notes, or a pencil or a pen. This is my palette. I use this palette paper. It's easy to use and dispose of. I like to have my palette nice and fresh here, and I like to have a mixing palette right here, and I keep my rag in my lap. So here are my palette knives, and we're going to start with our red primary colors. So this is our alizarin crimson. I'm going to mark it here, and then I'm going to take a little bit, place it on my palette, and I'm going to add white to it. Now this helps me to see what the color looks like. I can't always see that when the color is so dark. And no matter what I'm working on, whether it is still life or a landscape, a master study, this adding white allows me to see what that color looks like that I cannot see from that darker color. And so this may be in my painting that lighter shade, but I wouldn't have known that unless I had tinted it. So I love to test my colors first. Also, this allows me to see which red is actually in my subject or in my study. And so this is another red. This is a naphthol red, very similar to cadmium red. And before I end, I'm going to put this right here. And as you can see, they're very different reds. One's very warm and one's very cool. Now, cool colors have more of the blues, violets, greens, and warmer colors have more of your sunny type colors like your yellows, oranges, and reds. Now we're going to move to our yellows. This is a yellow ochre. I'll go ahead and put that pure color right there. And then take a little bit and add white. I'm going to add just a little bit more so you can see. Okay, and this is our cadmium medium yellow. There are lots of different yellows, a lot of different reds, a lot of different blues. I like to limit my palette and simplify that. That helps me. And if I see that I don't have that color, then I might go purchase an additional one. If I notice that the yellow's not quite right, or if the red or the blue's not quite correct, that's when I'll go and make a different purchase. But most of the time, these do work. I'm just lighten it up just a little bit. That's better, so you can see that change, that shift just a little more. Okay, make sure my palette knife is really clean because I got a little bit of blue into my yellow, and that's not cool. So this is the Prussian. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab each one of these and place it in its respective spot. So that's Prussian, Cobalt, and this is Phthalo. There's also Cerulean, there's Ultramarine, there's French Ultramarine. Lots of different options here, but these are the ones that I'm using. And I'm going to put white here first, and then I'm going to add a little bit of blue to my white. Blue is so dominant that if I add white to my blue, it's going to take a longer time to get to a tint of that color. Okay, so let me see what that blue looks like a little lighter. Then I'm going to put some white here. I'm going to add my cobalt to the white. I'm going to place this here. then I'm going to do the same. I'm going to get my last bit of white here. There's a little bit of that phthalo. Very different from the rest. So you can see why you may want to choose a different blue or a different yellow or a different red depending on your painting. And what I've come through with experience is being able to see these different colors as I continue to paint. Now, if you wanted to have any additional colors that you test here, if you had a Viridian green, anything that you wanted to test here, you could do your burnt sienna, your burnt umber. You could put a dark version and add white tint your color and add that next to it. And right here is where I'd like to, decide what my colors are for my painting. And then after I've looked at these, I'm like, ooh, I really want to use this color. I really want to use that cad. Whatever that is, I mark those here. And that helps me stay organized and on purpose. All right, thanks so much.